Hi guys, Steve here. In this video I'm going to play Kerbal Space Program. We've added some DLC missions, I'm going to try those out. If you've not seen Kerbal Space Program before, it's one of the most fun and educational games to teach you about rockets. But don't let that put you off because I said educational, it's not like a school thing. As you're playing it, it shows you how to travel from planet to planet. Right, click missions. Let's start with the first one. Gives you different things you have to build and you have to complete the missions. Wait for it to load. Right, this is your rocket hangar. Tells you what you need to do. And in the bottom right there, that's the goals you've got to complete. So that's a control module. I'll just quickly take you through what we've got and what we've not. It's a rocket. Let's narrow the end. Some fins. Nothing in those. There's a parachute. Put that on at the end. Right, let's have a rocket. In fact, let's make the rocket a bit taller. It has been a year, maybe 2 years since I played this, so I'm going to be rusty. So let's put that there. That's a solid rocket fuel. Right, I've got too much weight at the moment. I'll sort that out in a second. I'm going to pick some fins so I can direct where it goes. Ish. It's not the greatest. Right, you click this button and it duplicates the amount of fins you've got. Like I've got 4 there. You can have more or less. I basically go with is 3, but to be honest, 4's better. I'm going to put a parachute. Now these actually weigh an amount, so if you just put one side, it's going to lean over to that side. So I'm just going to have 4 to balance it, and in fact I'm just going to have 4 fins. So everything's perfectly symmetrical, so it should go straight up. Right, that's a solid rocket booster. It weighs too much at the moment, so I'm going to take some of the fuel down. So press Alt right mouse button. Like I played it for quite a few hours before, and I never knew that. I had to actually look that up. Now these are the different stages. At the moment both of them are together, so I'm going to click plus. Then drag the rocket stage below, so that fires first. Then at the end, when that's out of fuel, I'm going to click it to activate a parachute. Let's go to launch. Alright, this is a launch pad. We need to reach 5,000 meters. This is a system map. That's where we're starting off. It wants us to land somewhere around there, if we can. There's my little rocket on our launch pad. Right, normally you can adjust the thrust of rocket if it's like liquid fueled, but on this one it's solid rocket booster, so you just press it and it goes up. It's like a firework. To the left is how much fuel it's got left. It's, to be honest, the solid rocket boosters are really hard to control, so me landing near that island's got no chance. But I've completed the mission anyway. All I've got to do now is land it safely. I'm trying to glide slowly across there, but it's not looking that good. The main factors in where you're actually going to go and land is when you've got your engine on. When the engine cuts off, that means you're just basically falling. And that curve is where you're going to end up. But remember, the world's rotating, so it's not going to be exactly there. I'm going to speed time up so it falls quicker. You don't want to hang around in the air too long. Get closer to the ground. You've got the meters in the top middle, how close I am to the ground. Open the parachutes. That slows me down. And hopefully I'll land safely in the water. Speed up time again. Yeah, I've got no chance of getting there. But on this mission you don't have to. Well, it's not essential anyway. I think it's just bonus points or whatever. 100 meters. And we have touchdown. My rocket arrived safely back. Right, that's the first mission done. So let's go back to the Space Center. This is your base of operations. In different modes you can use these for like research, build planes, etc. But for now we're just going to go back to the main rocket building. Right, now we've got a new objective down the bottom right. So let's try and complete that. I'll start off again with the only control module we have. Need to get up to a high altitude this time. We've got 2 rockets unlocked now, or 2 more unlocked. We've got 3 in total. There's a few tanks. I'll show you what else we've got unlocked. So let's taper it at the nose again. That's a decoupler. That'll disconnect everything below us. This will create a nose cone to make us more aerodynamic. So we've got some extra fin. It's a thermometer we need to take a temperature out in space. And the parachute again. So let's build the next rocket. Let's do the nose. So you click it in place and then you design how you want the nose cone to look like. Encompassing the control module. There we go, it should be aerodynamic. Opens up to see inside. Let's choose a NOOBLETS flag. There you go, it's changing the background. I might actually get one of those printed in real life. Right, these are different fuel tanks. Let's have 2, because I need enough fuel to go up high. Right, now let's get a rocket. This one will be too big. Like that. That was a solid rocket booster, so that doesn't use a fuel above. But this one will use a fuel in the tanks above it. Small, but it should do the job. As long as they don't make the rocket too heavy. Right, now I need fins to control where it's going to go. Let's have 4 of them. Let's try it out on a launch pad. Okay, on this mission we need to get to 48,000 meters. Raise the thrust. Ignite. We have ignition. All I've got to do is head straight up. It wants us to fly through those hoops, but no chance of that. Leaning a bit over to the left. I'm going to tap a bit to the right. Now fins will guide us back into position. If we didn't have the fins, it would just lean over to the left. There'd be no way of controlling it. It's a bit of a wonky rocket. It's hard to control. If I actually stuck more fins on it, it'd make it even more oversensitive and impossible to control. All we've got to do is head straight up. There's 10,000 meters. That's the arc of where we're going. We're going so fast the parachutes won't deploy. So I've gone red. Trying to head up. Highest any Kerbin's ever been. The friction is heating everything up. As we're passing through the atmosphere. But as we go up, there's less atmosphere, so the heat will stop. $46,000. Oh, we've made it. 48,000 meters. Right, I don't need a canopy anymore, so let's eject it. There's a sensor underneath. Click the thermometer, right click it. Take measurement. And mission accomplished. We now know how cold space is. You can, if you've got an antenna, you can actually send it back to the space station, but this rocket doesn't. So eject the capsule at the end. Don't need the rocket below now. This arc is actually how high we're going to go up. 224,000 meters. That music starting means I'm floating in space. That tab thing's new. Not sure how to delete that, so to move that away. Our momentum will take us up this high, and then the gravity of Earth, well, Kerbin, will pull us back down again. Any second. Still going up. That'll slow down at our height. There we go. Now we're starting to fall back down. It's going to take a while, so I'll speed up time. The Earth's well, Kerbin's rotating. So it's like we're going to land somewhere on the ground. Right, there's no atmosphere. We're entering in space, but we're entering Kerbin's atmosphere. And as we do, we're going to heat up because of the friction, because we're moving so fast. Friction of the air. There we go. But the friction actually slows you down. We're going so hot, fast, the parachute won't open, and if it does, it just get burned up anyway. So we're slowed down enough so we're not burning. As we're hitting the air, it slows us down as well. Parachutes So it's safe. Why isn't it opening the parachutes too high? No, it's not letting me open it. Not played in ages, so I must have changed that. Try lower down. Good job, it's an unmanned capsule. It'd be a severe landing. Or something else. Parts of a rocket's crashing into the ground. Still can't open a parachute. Let me know why that is, please. Am I moving too fast? Am I too high up? No, still won't. I don't know why I can't open it, so it looks like we're going to have a crash landing. Boom. Now, instead of showing you the smaller rockets like this and doing the DLC missions, I'm going to show you a bit more of the game and do something a bit more adventurous. Now, I've literally haven't played in 2 years. I've missed out loads of changes. They've altered the physics of the game and how different things work. But I'm going to try and build a rocket to go to the moon. I'm going to start off with a capsule that can hold 3 Kerbals. Let's put a parachute on top of that. Start from the top and build our way down. Right, I need a heat protector at its bum when I'm re-entering atmosphere. Now I need to decouple the rocket below. Can't remember the sizes. Oop. There we go. Right, next I need RC thrusters. This will let us move around in space. That's the fuel tanks for it. Let's select 4 of them. These come in different sizes. Medium. Tiny ones. Let's go with a 4-way one. Okay. Now, stabilizing units help your rocket fly in a straight line. I'm going to move that down. That one. Oh, they're too small. That's the one I was looking for. Put that one underneath, and then put the smaller one underneath a parachute. It's all connected to one thing. Right. Now we can turn in space, but we need to be able to move forward in space. I'll just try and find a fuel tank the same size. I've changed the colours and different formats. So what I'm going to do is fast forward, and you'll see me doing trial and error, and we're going to build a rocket in super fast time. So see you in a second. There's a fuel tank that fits. Put engines on the bottom of that. Going to put a ladder on so Kerbins can get down. That extends up and down. Next I need a decoupler. Separate it from the rest of the rocket. Big fuel tank. Move it up. Need a good size engine for this one because it's got a lot of weight to lift up. Another decoupler. Another fuel tank. This time we're going to have a huge engine. Most powerful one at the bottom because it's got to lift everything up. Right, now I'm going to put decouplers on its side. And then get solid rocket boosters. Those small ones, let's pick the big ones. Try and get those. In fact, let's put more on. There we go. They're going to help lift the whole main rocket. Then when they've burnt out, they'll just decouple. Put some equipment on the capsule. We've added a lot of new ones, so I don't know what some of these are. And some of them are huge. Remember, the more weight you take into space, the more thrust, more fuel and everything else you need. Let's put some antenna on so I can send messages back to Earth. Kerbin. Keep saying Earth. Right, we need batteries now. There we go. To give a unit power. Some solar panels. That one's a bit big. There we go, that's fine. So if we do run out of power, the sun will recharge it back up. Let's have some landing gear. The capsule's a bit tall, to be honest, but just doing this quickly. I usually spend hours building a perfect capsule, shuttle, rocket below it. Let's have some fins to direct where the rocket's going to go. Those at the top. Want bigger ones down the bottom. There you go, that's do. Right, let's put cones on solid rockets to make it more aerodynamic. Right, let's build an aerodynamic nose cone. You can create the shape you want. There we go. Join that back up. Now these struts are like cables that hold things in place. There we go. Whoop. Disconnected it. Join that back up. If you don't put those cables in, the like solid rocket boosters will move around a lot. Just makes the rocket more stable, and the more moving around it does, it'll throw the rocket off course. Let's put more landing gear on. Right, now we need to select the order we want everything to fire. So put all the rockets down the bottom, the main ones. Decouplers, you can see the order when I click on them, when they'll be activated, starting from the bottom. Right, here we go. There's our big boy. I don't know why it starts with the landing gears always down. Put them up. Looks okay for a quick knock up. I really don't know if it's going to make it, but we'll soon see. I'm going to keep the middle rocket thrust off and just use it out of the solid rocket boosters to lift us into space. That should be enough. Of the main middle engine, save its fuel. So I'm being carried up now just by the outer rockets. Get the world map in position. Right, you want to lean over to the side about slowly though. You don't want to completely tip over. Try to aim for like 90 degrees because you want to go sideways, not straight up, because as you've seen, if you go straight up, you'll lean it, your gravity will pull you right back down again. Travelling in space, which I never knew, was going around in circles, in curves and circles. Going a bit hot. That's what solid rocket boosters done, so eject those. Still travelling pretty hot. Right. We're being powered by the bottom middle rocket at the moment. We've got the momentum still. Just passing through the atmosphere. Very fast, that's why we're a bit hot. Going a bit toasty in there. But Kerbals are protected. Right. That's our projected path. So cut thrust. Run out of fuel, so eject the bottom section. Now we've got on the mid-rocket stage. When we go into space, you'll hear the music start. That's our projected path. The apex of it. Right, I'm going to add a manoeuvre here. Drag it out, so we're circling Kerbin. There we are, we're in space now. Right, pull that in a little bit. And when it's got two yellow tags, that's minimum and outer radius. Right, I'm just positioning myself up with that blue marker, which is the next manoeuvre I want to do. Right, I've got a really weak engine on this. I should have picked a bigger one, but for sakes of building, I just stuck it on. If I had a good engine, well, a bigger engine on it, it would have given me a countdown time and then how long I'd have to thrust for. But because it's a small engine, I'm just going to burn now and try and extend sideways. You see, the yellow ring is projected, the blue is the actual path I'm on. So I'm heading in that direction. I've started my burn way early, but I needed to because I haven't got enough power in my engine. But I should be able to make it. Like I said, I haven't played this for years. I'll be amazed if I actually get on the moon. The blue path's expanding. There we go. Now we're going to go around in orbit, no matter what happens. Burn for a little bit more and stop. Delete that manoeuvre now, because I don't need that. I'm not fighting against gravity now, so I can travel round and circle. Alright, it gives me time to breathe. There's my little Kerbins. Little Kerbals all happy. There's a mun. I keep saying moon. They call it the mun. Right, next thing we need to do is plot a course to the mun. So I'll put a marker there, drag it out, then move it around, and you get an intercept with a moon, like there. So the moon will go round, and by the time we get there we'll intercept it, but you can drag it round to try and find a better position to intercept the moon. Like sometimes you can fly in front of it, sometimes right into the moon, sometimes behind it. Now we've got an intercept course there. I'll just make this a little bit smaller. Now make it wider. There we go. There's an intercept course. Now we'll become purple is projected moon, and we'll be coming around the back of it. So we have to go from this position. We can move it and go a bit tighter if we want. Have a bigger arc. That's quite good. Things more efficient if you have arcs and bigger arcs. If you have a straight line, go straight into it, you're travelling faster, you're likely to fly into it, and you'll need more fuel to burn to actually change your orbit. So I'm just showing you the different positionings where the moon would be. So we're going to come pretty close to it. I'm going to risk it there, so we'd have to burn for that time. Well, is that time until we have to burn, and above it tells you how long we have to burn for. So sped up time. Like I say, we've got small engines, so I might have to start burning beforehand. That gas that's coming out is the RC thrusters. Keeps you in position. You can turn those on and off, and it'll automatically lock you into that position. So I'm going to get over this blue point, turn them on and off. There you go. Right, happy there. Now it'll constantly hold you there, pointing in that direction. Speed up times, because it's a while until we get there. Slow down time again. You don't want to overshoot, or you've got to go around again, and all your position, the moon won't be in the same place because everything rotates. So it's better to slow down beforehand than slow down too late, overshoot it, and you've missed your window. Countdown to the burns almost there. Let's start now. And you'll see the blue path start to get bigger and bigger. Like, I watch sci-fi all my life and absolutely love it, and I never knew that you have to travel in space in arcs like this. I thought you'd just be able to go straight line up and straight line back down again. There's that arc increasing in size. Right, you want to slow your thrust down as you get into position, because if you overshoot you'll screw it up. I've slowed mine right down. I've overshot the projected a little bit, but I'm still on course. So now I'll delete that marker and we'll drift with our momentum over to the Mon. Do a little bit more. I think I've done it a bit close actually. Looks like I'm going to go around the side of it, around the back. Right, speed up time. And our momentum from that thrust will throw us out the gravity of Earth and towards the Mon. Speed up, moving away. There's the Mon. Moving ever closer. So the Mon's moving to the left and we're meeting it. Speed up time again. You don't want to do it too much, because if you shoot past, you'll have a serious accident. Right, now we've gone to that mark. We are now in the gravitational pull of the Mun. But as you can see, we're going to hit it. So I'm going to create another manoeuvre, rather quickish. Slow time down again. Right, with these handles you can go to the side, up, down diagonally and in and out. Right, if I go there I've moved around it, but if I move it back more like this, then I would have to use less fuel. Because the sooner you do a manoeuvre, the bigger the impact is, and like the bigger radius you do, for the less amount of fuel later on down the line. Right, I'm going to try and alter these handles and try and get into the orbit of the Mun. It's on the diagonal. Let's delete it and start again. Right, I'm going to pass it now instead of hitting it. Just move that a bit more. Right, we've got a head completely sideways now, so we skim past the Moon instead of striking it. Wait until the timer, and then full throttle. Our real path's moving out now. There we go. Delete that point. Now I'm going to add another manoeuvre here, and I want to slow myself down this time. And when I do, it curves around like this, and it will put me into the orbit with the Moon. Like those yellow markers are the maximum and minimum altitude, and if you have it somewhere in the middle, then both from each side are roughly the same. So I'm going to use my RC thrusters to turn around. Now that yellow marker with the 3 yellow sticks sticking out, that's my exact opposite to the direction I'm going. But I'm going to go to this blue marker, which is the manoeuvring point. So I'm facing the opposite direction, so when I thrust it will slow me down, so I won't shoot past the Moon. I'll actually get caught in its gravitational pull and it will bring me around in an orbit. This game is fairly complicated, as you might see. Right, timer's ticking down for my manoeuvre point. Tells me how long I've got to thrust for. Almost there. Like, you have to carefully watch your time, because you don't want to put a multiplier on your time too high, or you just shoot past it and screw everything up. It's always better to underdo it. Now I'm bang on target. Just gotta wait for the time tick down, then I'll accelerate, and that blue line will curve round into an orbit. Almost there. Getting ready for our orbit move. Here we go. Because we're slowing down now, we're not shooting past the Moon. The gravitational pull of the Moon's going to capture us and put us into orbit. There we go. Run out of fuel, eject that. Carry on with a smaller rocket. Slowing down. And now we're in orbit around the Mun. A bit of a wonky one, but an orbit nevertheless. You can always adjust that on the manoeuvre. Here's a little tiny baby rocket head. Don't need that cone protecting us anymore, so eject it. Could have ejected it as soon as we're out of the atmosphere, to be honest. On a sequence, I'll lower it next time. Right, let's put another manoeuvring point in. Right, that one does vertical slant. There we go. Better orbit. Well, kind of. For now, it doesn't matter if we land on a slant. Right, now what I'm going to do is lower our descent and try and pick where we're going to land. The Mun rotates, so it's not an exact science. You see our projected is now going into the Mun. There. Touch down on the edge of that crater, but it rotates and gravity will take effect, so I'm going to overshoot it a bit. And this will maybe land me on the other side of that huge big crater. There we go, that's more of a horizontal landing. There you go, move it around a bit more. There we go, so that manoeuvring marker's positioned. Speed up time, we'll move around. Don't speed up time too much, you just whiz round in circles. There's Kerbin in the background. Good shot of a Mun. There's the sun. There's different measurements. It takes a while to learn this game, especially building your first rocket. I've uploaded videos of the earlier attempts of rockets on my site, so you can check those out if you want. As they go terribly wrong. Right, let's have a look from his point of view. That's inside the capsule. See space out there. I'm just positioning my lander. Almost there, slip back down again, quickie. Still on position. Watch the countdown. T-minus 1 minute. Start slight burn. Put main burn on. The orbit will decrease. Slow down first. Any second. Stop. There. There we go. Now we're gonna gently arc into the Mun. Speed up time. Get us round in position. Let's have a closer look at it. Let's slow down again, or we're just gonna slam into it. Delete that point. Alright, it looks like we're going to land there. And we actually would if we would crash there. But we have to turn around. That's where we're actually heading directly straight in. But we have to slow ourselves down, so we head in a reverse direction, which is here. So put your RCs on there. So if I did nothing, we'd just smash there. But we have to lower out a speed, and by doing that, it pulls our path further and further closer to our ship. Because obviously we're slowing down. probably actually land on the opposite side of the crater. Keep adjusting slowly. Keep centered. Now, it looks, you might think we're just falling down now, but we're actually travelling sideways in a diagonal path. And by aligning yourself up to a reverse way you're going, you'll cut your sideways momentum and your vertical momentum. So just carry on keeping it in the opposite position. It will stop you going sideways so much. Obviously, if you're heading straight down and going sideways now, you'd just flip over. So this is why we're heading and cutting the sideways momentum out. This line, that blue line, will become more vertical. Get back on position again. Sideways momentum's reduced a lot. Like, you just want to come straight down, then you'd land on the mun. But if you're coming down and moving sideways, you'd flip over, crash, all your little Kerbins will die, and it'd be a horrible mess. When that yellow marker is on the top of the blue point of the blue dome in the middle bottom, that means you're not moving sideways anymore, you're going directly down. So I'm still drifting slightly sideways, using my thrust. Don't use too much thrust or you'll shoot back up again. Slowly moving to the central point. Almost eliminated all horizontal movement. Right, let's drift down a little bit more. There's more efficient ways to do it like this. You don't have to mess around up in the air. Well, I'd say air, but there's no air here. Open up my landing gear. Now, speed's going up again. Obviously, you don't want to slam into the mun, so you need to judge that. Depends what rocket engines you've got. This one's quite a good, even though it's small, it's quite good because there's no atmosphere here, so you're not fighting against that, and you're not fighting against the bigger gravitational force of Kerbin. So when you're out in space, you can use smaller engines. Right, I'm carefully going down. Don't want to mess this up. Start to see some details on the surface, some rocks. It says I'm drifting sideways, but it'll even out a bit. Not too worried at the moment. Just cut a bit of sideways movement off. I spent longer above the mun than I would normally, but like I say, not played it for years. I can barely remember the controls. I'm doing quite well. Well, when I say quite well, I've made it almost. Just got to touch down. You notice on the left we've barely got any fuel, so I don't think we'll be able to lift off again and get back to the Kerbin. Right, the yellow point is directly in the middle. We're heading down. All you got to do now is watch your altitude and your speed. And it's a good idea. Well, I give too much thrust. It's a good idea to look for your shadow from above, and that tells you, and you can judge how close you are to the ground. Coming in a slight angle. Don't use too much thrust, barely any, and we've got almost touchdown. We have touchdown for the Nooblets. There we go. We've landed on the moon. When you play this game, it's a huge achievement the first time you do that, because it takes a while to learn the game and figure everything out. Right, let's do some tests. I can keep that, or I could send it back and transmit it, because we've got aerials. They open up. Let's do some more tests. You can just transmit everything if you want. If you haven't got any aerials on your capsule, you won't be able to transmit, so don't forget those. You can get bigger radar dishes than that. Collecting all the data. That's a huge achievement. Right, extend the ladder. Doesn't go all the way down to the bottom because it's on a slant at the moment. That's not a problem. Right, which Kerbal will go for pilot, because he's took us this far. Making it slowly down the ladder. It's a bit of a drop, but he's weightless. Well, kind of. The gravity's very low. Oh, he lands on his feet. His little Kirby's going for a walk. Oh, he's so happy, look at his little face. Whee! It's amazed. Let's get rid of that ball, don't need it anymore. Whee! Super Kerbal. Boing. Boing. Later on you can do experiments on the moon, bring bigger capsules. Right, let's take samples. Let's place a flag. Nooblets flag on the moon. It's a bit dark there. Let's take it down and place it where the sun is so you can see it better. I'll take a screenshot and use that as a thumbnail for this video. Hopefully it'll stick out in the right direction. Alright. Nooblets in the moon. Right, let's leave a message. Nooblets first landing. It's a bit shit here. Nothing to do. I'll pass that on for future explorers. Whee! I don't know how to get rid of these tab things now. There, no. Oh, he's going to face palm. Well, face plant. Right, I put my little EVA rocket packs on. I don't know how to get rid of it. There you go, got rid of him. You can whiz around the surface. Whee! He's enjoying it. He's a bit excited. It's got fuel, so you don't want to go too far, you might run out. Let's make our way back. The EVA jets are a bit sensitive. You could end up moving really quickly. There's our lander from above. Not coming a bit hard. Oh, he's made it. Right, the ladder's short, but I can use a jetpack to, oh, fell again, fly up to the ladder. Let's take a picture. Maybe use it on for the thumbnail. Try and get a good crop. There we go, let's fly up and get back in. The ladder's slant because the capsule's slant and it's on its side. Alright, grab it, climb back in. Board it, and all the little fellas are inside again. Right, retract the ladder. Now, we haven't got enough fuel to get back. I should send out a rescue mission at this point. But what's Kerbal Space Program without a few explosions? So I'm going to try and take off as much as I can. See how far we get. Heading sideways again on an angle. Look, fuel's about to run out. I think that's it. We're doomed. We didn't bring enough fuel. The Kerbins are looking a bit worried. Bless them. Okay. I eject the back rocket. We've got our own little capsule. We couldn't make it back to Kerbin. And the gravity of the Mun's going to pull us back in, speed up time. The astronauts aren't looking too happy. Or maybe they are. Maybe we're on the site. So maybe we're on a suicide pact. Poor little fellas. Leaving families behind. Just to give us a good explosion. Let's take some data if we can. Before the final crash. I don't think we've got time. It's gonna crash. That's part of a rocket. Oh! The Mun pancakes. And that is Kerbal Space Program. I hope you enjoyed watching it, guys. Getting to the moon's doable. Getting to the few other planets is doable, but you're literally going to have to be a genius to land on the meteors, asteroids floating around, and the outer planets, because they're really difficult to get to. It's one of the best, if not the best, rocket game you can get, and it'll keep you busy for days, in fact weeks and weeks, to learn everything. You got the sandbox game, what you just saw, the new DLC missions at the start, and you've also got these scenarios you can do.